Okay, sir, we are ready to go.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I would like to welcome to our presentation titled Fatalistic Views and Its Impact on Combating COVID-19 Bangladesh Context. Here I am with you, Mr. Saifuddin Ahmed, Associate Professor and Chairman of the Department of Peace and Conflict Studies, University of Dhaka, Bangladesh. And along with me, I have two of my fellow researchers. They are graduate students of the Department of Peace and Conflict Studies at Dhaka University, MD Zarif Rahman
Hello, everyone.
and Mahabuba Islam Meem.
Hello, everyone.
Honorable Chair, Co-Chair, distinguished participants, uh, fellow speakers, and ladies and gentlemen. Let us start our presentation. You know that COVID-19 have been impacting and have had a great impact on human civilization. And there are numerous areas where COVID-19 affect human civilization. Our study mainly concentrate on how COVID-19 have had impact on human behavior, especially driving people towards fatalistic belief. And you see that this study aims to evaluate whether COVID-19 pandemic can turn human civilization more fatalistic or not. So, in aiming this objective, this paper analyzed the perception of people regarding the fate and coronavirus, and what are the factors behind different behaviors of people regarding this pandemic, and most importantly, how and why it shifts the perception of people towards the fate after and during the pandemic. And you see that our study is in Bangladesh context, and you see that even though the health protocol of one of the most important health protocol of containing COVID-19 is social distancing, using masks and etc. But you see in Bangladesh, it is highly densely populated areas, and people hardly or can hardly follow these health protocol to get rid of COVID-19. So keeping all this in backdrop, I would like to now invite MD Zarif Rahman to present his part.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the floor. This is Mohammad Jaif Rahman from Department of Peace and Conflict Studies, University of Dhaka. So let's have a look on COVID-19 and situation of Bangladesh. The first patient within the border of Bangladesh was identified on March 8 of this year. And after that, Bangladesh have been facing several kind of economic and social challenges. And based on the economic disruption following the pandemic, the GDP growth forecast of Bangladesh has been revised downward from 7.8% to 3.8% for the fiscal year 2020. The country's exports have dropped over 16% and imports have dropped over 17%. Educational institutions are still shut down ever since March 17. Just like the educational institution, the government and semi-government and a lot of private institutions were closed off as well. Inter-district communications were pulled back to a certain degree. But the absence of strong administrative measures led to a rapid spread of disease. Bangladesh is currently the second most affected country in South Asia, right after India. And as you can see in this table, it's a comparative analysis between the countries of South Asia regarding confirmed cases, tests per million population, etc. So in Bangladesh, the low income population in the beginning and a lot of middle income people down the road had to defy the regulatory guidelines and get back to work to make a living because they cannot afford the work from home principle. And again, large public gatherings and arbitrary conduct of the people didn't help bring the situation under the control in any way. And there are several instances of mass gathering, for example, funeral, going home during vacation, etc. So we can say various cultural, economic, and religious factors have played role for having the people kept effort from the preventive measure. Now let's have a look at the existing literature. There are number of literature about fatalism and its association with health and disease. For example, Huyu argues that fatalistic tendencies are the output of the interaction between cultural factors, in particular of religion and historical institution experiences. Often, literature also show that fatalism impacts both preparedness of individual to deal with announced natural disaster and the ability to cope with the psychological consequence of a natural disaster. The role of fatalism also has been studied in medical literature, where it is regarded as a serious obstacle to the adoption of health screening behaviors, which is also true in the COVID-19 context. This is because fatalism is positively associated with depression, as a person tends to abandon efforts to engage in person control. So let's have a look at our theoretical framework. We have adopted a framework developed by Raymond and Ramirez. In this framework, fatalism contains three domains, which are predestination, pessimism, and attribution of one's health to luck. Predestination addresses the lack of control an individual perceive over external events, which is commonly known as the external locus of control. Illness is often perceived as the punishment of sin or wrongdoings where a human can barely control health. Pessimism, another domain, consists three central elements, which are powerlessness, hopelessness, and meaninglessness. Pessimism abates by the notion that death is inevitable, and no matter what we do, we cannot lower our chances of getting infected regarding any kind of virus or diseases. And lastly, the final dimension, attribution of one's health to luck, stresses that health is based on luck, destiny, and fate. In this context, fatalistic people see poor health as an outcome of bad luck. Another concept or theory we partially use in our study is the uncertainty avoidance developed by Hofstede, as it is helps to understand the fatalistic behavior among the individuals. There are some indicators you can see, which is divided into two columns: low uncertainty avoidance and high uncertainty avoidance. However, this is the framework we are using in our study. So that's all from me. I now request Mahabuba Islam Meem to present our methodology and result of our study. Thanks to all.
Thank you, Zarif, for giving me the floor. I am Mahabuba Islam Meem from the Department of Peace and Conflict Studies, University of Dhaka. Now let's have a look at the methodology and findings of our study. Our study intends to find out whether COVID-19 pandemic can turn human civilization more fatalistic or not. Mixed method approach is thus considered best suitable. The study also follows a descriptive research design. Data collection has been done in two phases. Primary data has been collected through a survey and in-depth interviews. Considering the present situation of COVID-19, an online survey among 406 individuals have been conducted to evaluate their perception regarding fate and COVID-19. Can I see the next slide?
Yeah.
Survey data has later been analyzed based on age and income. Age has further been categorized into three parts: youths, middle age, and senior citizens. Monthly income has also been divided into three parts: from lowest range of income, middle range of income, and highest range of income. In-depth interviews for the study has been collected based on 6 categories: academicians, religious scholars, medical practitioners, COVID-19 infected individuals, law enforcement officials, and journalists. Secondary data for the study have been collected through newspaper and library research. News and articles published within the past 6 months of one national newspaper called the Daily Star have been analyzed. Information have also been gathered from internet searches such as books, journals, articles, research papers from various websites. So the major findings of our studies were senior citizens and people from the lowest income range are more fatalistic than the rest. Youths and people from the highest income range are less fatalistic than the rest. Senior citizens are suffering the most from anxiety in this pandemic, and youths are facing the most uncertainty in this pandemic. As we can see, 93.75% of senior citizens have the perception of getting infected even after following proper hygiene rules. On the other hand, 84.03% of youths and 75.79% of middle-aged individuals hold similar belief. Coming to the income profile, 83.53% of people from the lowest range of income have the belief of getting infected even after following proper hygiene rules. On the other hand, 81.32% of people from the middle range and 63.48% of people from the highest range of income have similar belief. Now, senior citizens are highest in numbers to believe that COVID-19 has come from God, with 91.67% of them. On the other hand, 70.72% of youths and 54.74% of middle-aged individuals have the same belief. Coming to the income profile, 78.82% of people from the lowest income range see COVID-19 as being sent from God. On the other hand, 69.23% of people from the middle income range and 63.48% of people from the highest range of income have the similar belief. Senior citizens are also highest in numbers to believe that COVID-19 has come as a punishment of sins from God, with 68.75% of them. On the other hand, only 37.64% of youths and 26.32% of middle-aged individuals hold similar belief. Judging from the income profile, 49.41% of people from the lowest range of income see it as a punishment of sins. On the other hand, 32.97% of people from the middle income range and 33.04% of people from the highest range of income see it as a punishment. Now, senior citizens, almost 83.33% of them believe that if anyone gets infected even after following proper hygiene rules, then it is a God's will or fate. On the other hand, 65.78% of youths and 55.79% of middle-aged individuals hold similar belief. Coming to the income profile, people from the lowest range of income are also highest in numbers to believe that if anyone gets infected even after following proper hygiene rules, then it's a God's will or fate, with 71.76% of them. On the other hand, 63.74% of people from the middle income range and 61.30% of people from the highest range of income hold similar belief. Now, senior citizens are also highest in numbers to believe that COVID-19 has been making people more dependent on fate, with 72.92%. On the other hand, 51.33% of youths and 41.05% of middle-aged individuals hold a similar belief. Coming to the income profile, 52.94% of people have the belief that COVID-19 is indeed making people more dependent on fate. 52.75% of people from the middle income range and 46.96% of people from the highest range of income have the similar belief. Now, youths are considered less fatalistic than the rest, but they are also suffering the most from uncertainty in this COVID-19 situation, with almost 68.06% of them. On the other hand, 45.26% of middle-aged individuals and 57.14% of senior citizens are facing uncertainty in this situation. Judging from the income profile, people with the lowest income range are considered more fatalistic, but they are also suffering the most from uncertainty in this situation, with 68.24% of them. On the other hand, 60.44% of people from the middle income range and 60.87% of people from the highest income range are facing uncertainty in this pandemic. Lastly, as we have seen, senior citizens are considered more fatalistic than the rest, but they are also suffering the most from anxiety in this COVID-19 situation, with almost 90.48% of them. On the other hand, 83.27% of youths and 81.05% of middle-aged individuals are suffering from anxiety in this situation. Coming to the income profile, people from the lowest range of income and people from the highest range of income are equally suffering from anxiety in this situation, with respectively 81.18% and 81.74%. On the other hand, 78.92% of middle income range people are facing anxiety in this COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to call our Professor Saifuddin Ahmed to take the floor.
Thank you, Meem, for your well-presented information and data. And from these data presentation, what we have come to know, basically that who are more fatalist and who are less fatalist. We can see that the senior citizens and the people from lowest income group, they are found more fatalist amongst from our respondents, while the young people and people from the highest income group are found less fatalist amongst the respondents. And in our respondents, we find that the believers think that everything comes from God. Even though they are not practicing their religion, but among the believers who follow religion very strictly, they believe that the diseases comes from God as a punishment. But the data shows that youth people are less fatalist and their actions basically contradict to this. And if we can see why, the question is why they are less fatalist, but they behave like a fatalist because of uncertainty, because of losing their jobs, because of economic uncertainty. They think, if we can see our next slide, that their behavior, like you can see the picture that this is the situation and this is the behavior of the most of the young people in Bangladesh, and they think that whatever it is, we are to go for. We can see the picture. Whatever it is, we can go for our work, and so the feeling like whatever it is a notion like fatalist, but they don't believe in fatalism. And why do they behave like this? Because of uncertainty of their economic condition. That's why they are tend to behave like a fatalist. Okay, next. So either believe or either behaving like fatalist, it is found from our study that a pandemic like COVID-19 make people more fatalist in Bangladesh, either from their belief perspective or from their behavioral perspective. And but a good number of people believe that, alongside with this belief and behavior, a good number of people believe that human can take precautionary measures to contain any disease like COVID-19. This is very important, and this also reveals our primary data. Uh, why? Uh, but in recent trends in Bangladesh that people's uncertainty has dropped a little bit, and almost all the sectors of economic and social sectors are more or less open except education institutions. Why this happened? Because of the release of uncertainty. People have come to release their uncertainty because of their knowledge and awareness about the situation. So as much as people become aware and educated and knowledgeable about the disease, their uncertainty goes down, and that you find in Bangladesh. And but the senior citizens, they have still found more fatalist because the information relating to awareness has not reached them properly, and they still scare of their disease, and because of their comorbidity and other economic uncertainty, they are still a little bit fatalist and scared of moving in the workplaces and some other social gatherings. Next. Well, the question is to what extent the survey results are compatible with the existing literature. And we have taken three scholars' literature here: Rui, Durkheim, and Hayes and Clark. What is Rui's argument? Rui's literature is based on religious and fatalism. He says that religious belief religious people are more fatalist. Durkheim said that social structure and fatalism is related. So whether people will be fatalist or not, it depends on the social structure. And on the other hand, Hayes and Clark identifies that emotional distresses has relationship with fatalism. So let us see what happens in our study and what we get in our study. We get that uh, senior citizens have found more religious, and they are fatalist. And we have in our structure, we have disparity between the income groups. Low income group, next slide please. Low income group and high income group, there are disparity, and because of this structure, people become fatalist or behave like fatalist. And uh, next slide. And senior citizens are mostly have feeling of emotion. So why what Hayes and Clark says that emotional distresses has relationship with fatalism. So senior citizens have mostly found fatalists for another reason, because they are emotionally distressed because of their age, because of their uncertainty, and that tends them to be fatalist. So our empirical data strongly fit with the literature that we have so far studied. So, keeping all this in mind, we have come to a conclusion that majority of the population of Bangladesh, though they are not fatalistic in mindset, but different conditions like their awareness, uncertainty, and religious belief, they have become fatalist or behave like a fatalist. And this study helps us to understand the perception of our population comprehensively and allows us to focus on how can we make people more aware and come out from this fatalistic attitude and be more pragmatic and scientific. So Here, we would like to suggest and advocate to the policymakers that if the policymakers can address basically two issues, especially how the senior citizens could release or could be relieved from their anxiety, how they can get information about their health issue, and how can we mitigate the gap between different income groups. How can we lift the low income group people to higher income group people? Or how can we at least make sure that low income group people will not be hampered because of any kind of disaster like COVID-19? So if the policymakers can address both the issues, then the people of Bangladesh in particular will be more scientific to combat COVID-19, and they will hardly behave like fatalists. And that we uh, humbly would like to suggest to the policymakers, especially in Bangladesh and across the globe, who have this common scenario. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.